Hello there, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're already tucked under the covers, curled up on the couch, or quietly pretending to wind down while actually scrolling, this is your time to rest, reflect, and maybe learn a little something along the way. Tonight, we're going on a journey not through space, but inward, into the tiny, astonishing worlds that live inside you. You are made of trillions of cells, host to microscopic organisms, and home to entire ecosystems that keep you alive without you ever having to think about them. It's a bit like being the landlord of a bustling invisible city, except no one pays rent and the plumbing is mostly lymph. Now, I do hope this video doesn't end up being too interesting. That would defeat the point, wouldn't it? But if you do find yourself wide awake at the end, just know it's only because your brain got distracted by how marvellously complex you are. And hey, if you're going to stay up thinking, you might as well be thinking about mitochondria. Before we dive in, I'd be ever so grateful if you'd leave a like and consider subscribing. It really helps more sleepy minds find their way here. And if you feel like sharing, let me know where in the world you're listening from and what time it is there. Are you an early bird trying to get a head start on rest, or a night owl drifting toward dreams? Alright then, take a deep breath, let your shoulders relax. You don't have to do anything right now except listen. Let's explore the tiny worlds inside you. And just before we begin, a gentle reminder, this video is for relaxation and educational purposes only. It's not medical advice, and it's certainly not a substitute for speaking with a qualified healthcare professional. If you have questions or concerns about your health, it's always best to consult with someone who knows your unique story. Alright then, let's begin. Imagine, for a moment, that your body is a city. Not just any city, but a teeming, buzzing metropolis that never sleeps. There are more residents in this place than there are people on Earth. In fact, there are more of them living on and in you than there are you. Trillions of microscopic organisms, bacteria, fungi, viruses, even tiny archaea, making themselves right at home. Your skin, your mouth, your gut, your nostrils, every crevice and corner is a potential piece of prime real estate. And the amazing part? You need them. These microscopic passengers are not just freeloaders. Far from it. They help digest your food, protect you from harmful invaders, produce essential vitamins, and even influence your mood. This astonishing ecosystem is called your microbiome, and it's one of the most important and misunderstood parts of what makes you, well, you. Most of your microbial tenants live in your gut, particularly in the large intestine. Picture it like the Times Square of bacteria, only far less neon and with a lot more fibre. Your gut hosts up to 100 trillion microbial cells. That's more than 10 times the number of human cells in your entire body. Although, to be fair, human cells are bigger and tend to be a little bossier. Despite their microscopic size, your microbes have an enormous impact. They can weigh up to 3 pounds in total. That's about the same as your brain. And just like your brain, they're hard at work 24/7. Let's meet a few of the locals. There's Bacteroideae, experts in breaking down complex plant fibres. Then there's Firmicutes, which are known to be quite efficient at calorie extraction, perhaps a little too efficient if you have ever blamed your waistline on having a slow metabolism. And then there's Akkermansia muciniphila. A charming name, isn't it? This one helps keep your gut lining healthy by munching on the mucus layer. It's the digestive equivalent of tidying up after itself. All these microbes form complex communities that interact with each other and with you. Think of it as a microscopic version of city politics, complete with alliances, rivalries, and the occasional turf war. If one group gets too dominant or another too weak, it can throw your whole system out of balance. That's when problems start, like inflammation, digestive trouble, or immune system misfires. The diversity of your microbiome is a key part of your health. A rich, varied microbial population tends to be more stable and resilient. Imagine an ecosystem like a rainforest. If it's filled with a wide range of species, it can better withstand changes, like a dry season or an invasive species. Your gut works the same way. The more diverse your microbes, the better equipped your body is to deal with change. So how do you build a thriving microbial city? Diet plays a starring role. Fibre-rich foods like fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains provide nourishment for the beneficial bacteria. These foods contain prebiotics, special fibres that your body can't digest, but your microbes love. It's like laying out a buffet for the gut residents. Fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, kefir, sauerkraut, and miso can also help by introducing new beneficial microbes. These are known as probiotics. They can reinforce your gut community, like inviting friendly reinforcements to join the party. Just be gentle with how you introduce them. No one wants to crash a perfectly balanced ecosystem with a surprise flood of sauerkraut. Of course, it's not all good news. Not everything we do is microbiome friendly. A diet high in processed foods and low in fiber can deplete microbial diversity. Overuse of antibiotics can wipe out entire microbial populations, not just the bad guys they're targeting. Antibiotics are life-saving when used correctly, but they don't discriminate much. It's like using a flamethrower to kill a wasp. It works, but at what cost? Interestingly, your microbiome is as unique as your fingerprint. It starts forming the moment you're born, whether by vaginal delivery or C-section, and whether you're breastfed or bottle-fed. These early encounters help seed your microbial world. As you grow, everything from the food you eat to the places you live, the pets you have, and even the people you kiss continue to shape your inner ecosystem. And your microbes don't just hang around in your gut, they interact with your immune system, your metabolism, even your brain. Scientists are discovering links between microbiome imbalances and conditions like obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, and even depression and anxiety. It's early days still, but the evidence suggests that the health of our microbial cohabitants might be more important than we ever imagined. Now, before we give too much credit to the bugs, let's remember, they don't love us. They're not tiny helpers with capes and a sense of loyalty. They're just doing what they've evolved to do, and it just so happens that a lot of it is beneficial to us. It's more a case of mutual interest than mutual affection, like roommates who get along because they share a fridge. Still, it's hard not to feel a little fond of them. After all, they've been with us since the very beginning. They outnumber us, they outweigh our brains, and they've probably done more to keep us healthy than most of us give them credit for. So tonight, as you rest, take a moment to appreciate the bustling microbial world within you. As you drift off to sleep, your tiny tenants will be hard at work, digesting your dinner, defending your body and keeping things running smoothly. Quiet, invisible, essential, and who knows, maybe they're listening too. Down in the depths of your belly, something extraordinary is happening, something scientists only recently started to truly understand. It's not just digestion or nutrient absorption or the occasional complaint about too much cheese. No, your gut is doing something far more mysterious. It's having a conversation with your brain. This intimate, ongoing dialogue between your gut and your mind is called the gut-brain axis. And while it might sound like the name of a lost Pink Floyd album, it's actually one of the most fascinating and complex systems in your body. Through a web of nerves, chemicals, and microscopic messengers, your gut and brain are constantly whispering to each other. Sometimes the message is, "I'm hungry." Sometimes it's, "That was delicious." And sometimes, in more complicated moments, it's, "I'm anxious," or even, "Something feels off." At the heart of this connection lies the vagus nerve. This long, wandering nerve, its name actually comes from the Latin for wandering, stretches from your brainstem down into your chest and abdomen, like a telephone line between two distant cities. About 80 to 90% of the signals along this nerve travel from the gut to the brain, not the other way around. In other words, your belly has a lot to say and your brain is mostly listening. And what is the gut telling it? Quite a lot, actually. For starters, your gut helps regulate mood. You've probably heard that most of your body's serotonin, the so-called feel-good chemical, is made in your brain. But actually around 90% of it is produced in the gut. Tiny specialized cells in your intestinal lining manufacture it, helped along by your gut microbes. It's like a little serotonin factory nestled right beside your last meal. Serotonin isn't the only brain-relevant chemical made down there. There's dopamine, which plays a role in motivation and reward. There's gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA for short, which helps calm your nervous system. And then there are short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, which are made when gut bacteria ferment dietary gluten. These little molecules can cross the blood-brain barrier and influence inflammation and stress response in your brain. In a way, your microbes are chemical messengers, using metabolic post-it notes to shape your emotional landscape. All of this starts to explain why your gut has earned its nickname, the second brain. Technically, it's called the enteric nervous system, and it contains over 100 million nerve cells, more than your spinal cord. It can function independently of your brain and spinal cord, And it even has its own reflexes, that fluttery, sinking sensation when you're nervous. That's not just your imagination. It's a gut feeling, literally. Scientists are still unraveling the full impact of this gut-brain relationship, but early research is intriguing. Studies in mice have shown that altering gut bacteria can influence behavior. Mice without certain gut microbes can become more anxious or less sociable. In some experiments, transferring gut bacteria from an anxious mouse to a calm one makes the calm mouse more anxious. That's not just weird, it's astonishing. Imagine becoming more anxious just because of someone else's microbiome. It's like emotional hand-me-downs. Of course, mice are not people. We're much more complex and hopefully less hairy, but similar patterns are beginning to emerge in humans too. Researchers have found links between the composition of a person's gut microbiome and their risk of depression, anxiety, and even conditions like autism. These are still early days, and no one's suggesting that a spoonful of sauerkraut can cure sadness. But it does open the door to exciting possibilities, using diet, probiotics, or other gut-targeting therapies to support mental health. And it's not just about mood. The gut-brain connection also plays a role in stress. When you're anxious or under pressure, your brain signals your gut to slow down digestion, tighten blood vessels, and sometimes even speed things up dramatically. That's why stress can make your stomach cramp or send you running to the bathroom at the least convenient moment. It's also why chronic stress can upset your digestive system over time. The brain can disturb the gut, and the gut can disturb the brain, in an oddly poetic sort of mutual sabotage. Even cravings may have microbial influence. Some studies suggest that certain bacteria in your gut can signal hunger, or even preference for particular foods. Craving sugar? It could be your microbes asking for dessert. It's as if they're lobbying from the inside, trying to sway your decisions with chemical persuasion. Democracy at its squishiest. So how do you support this delicate two-way street between belly and brain? One word: balance. A balanced diet rich in feta, plant-based foods and fermented products can nourish your gut microbes, helping them produce those beneficial neurochemicals. Regular movement, restful sound sleep, and managing stress also play a part. In fact, all the things that are good for your mental health tend to be good for your gut, and vice versa. It's like caring for one secretly boosts the other. Some researchers are exploring the idea of psychobiotics, probiotic strains that may specifically influence mood or mental clarity. It's still early, and the science is cautious, but imagine a future where a capsule of good bacteria might one day help with anxiety, or a carefully designed yogurt could brighten your mood. If nothing else, it's a cheerful reminder that your lunch might be more powerful than it looks. All of this paints a picture of your body not as a collection of disconnected parts, but as an intricate web of communication and cooperation. Your brain is not sitting alone in your skull, issuing commands like a boss in a swivel chair. It's listening, adapting and responding to input from all over, including the rumblings of your gut and the microscopic chatter of your microbes. So tonight, as you lie quietly in bed, know that even in stillness there's an orchestra of activity playing softly inside you. Messages travelling up the vagus nerve, neurotransmitters drifting through your bloodstream, microbes hard at work digesting, producing, signalling, a conversation unfolding, silent but essential. You might feel calm now, perhaps even sleepy. And if you do, maybe, just maybe, it's your gut saying, "Well done, friend, let's rest." Inside your body there's an invisible army. It works quietly, tirelessly, and without asking for thanks. No medals, no parades, just a lifelong mission to keep you safe. It's the immune system, your personal microscopic militia. And it's not just a single thing. It's a vast interconnected network of cells, organs, and chemical signals that patrols your body day and night, defending against invaders, cleaning up messes, and occasionally, just occasionally, getting a little over-enthusiastic. You might picture the immune system as something that only kicks into gear when you're sick, like when you catch a cold or scrape your knee, or come down with that mysterious 24-hour bug after eating questionable leftovers. But the truth is, your immune system is always on duty. Even right now as you relax and listen. Tiny battles are being fought inside you. Skirmishes are unfolding, rogue cells are being detected and dealt with before they ever cause trouble, and most of the time you'll never feel a thing. Let's meet the troops. First up, the white blood cells or leukocytes. These are your immune system's frontline defenders, and there are many different kinds, each with their own special roles. Think of them as highly trained specialists, like agents in a spy movie. only with more phagocytosis and fewer sunglasses. One of the most important types is the macrophage. The name literally means big eater, and that's exactly what they do. Macrophages roam around your body gobbling up anything suspicious. Bacteria, viruses, dead cells, cellular debris. They're basically the vacuum cleaners of your immune system. But they're not just tidy. When they find something dangerous, they don't keep it to themselves. They sound the alarm by releasing signaling molecules called cytokines, calling other immune cells to join the fight. Then there are neutrophils. These are like the shock troops of your immune army. They're fast, aggressive, and often the first to arrive at the scene of an infection. They engulf invaders, release enzymes, and when needed, they even sacrifice themselves in the process. A single drop of pus? That's full of dead neutrophils. Not glamorous, but undeniably heroic. Next, we have the lymphocytes, your adaptive immune system's VIPs. There are two major kinds, B cells and T cells. B cells are responsible for producing antibodies, those Y-shaped proteins that can stick to specific pathogens and mark them for destruction. Once your body has encountered a virus or bacteria, the B cells remember it. That's how immunity works. It's like they keep a scrapbook of past troublemakers and know exactly what to do if they show up again. T cells, on the other hand, are a little more hands-on. Some T cells help coordinate the immune response, acting like battlefield commanders. Others, called cytotoxic T cells, go on the attack and destroy infected cells directly. They're your microscopic special forces, swift, precise, and rather ruthless. All of these cells travel through a system of vessels and nodes known as the lymphatic system. You can think of it as your immune system's private highway network. Lymph, basically a clear fluid full of immune cells, flows through this system, carrying messages and materials from one part of the body to another. The lymph nodes, those little bean-shaped stations, are where immune cells gather, exchange information, and mount responses. Ever had swollen lymph nodes during a cold? That's your immune system in action, setting up temporary command centers to fight off invaders. And let's not forget about the spleen. It's not just there to sound poetic in historical novels. Your spleen filters blood, removing old or damaged red blood cells and identifying pathogens. It's like a security checkpoint for your bloodstream. Quiet, efficient, and largely ignored until it's gone. Now, while the immune system is a marvel of biological engineering, it's not perfect. Sometimes it gets confused. Allergies, for example, are the result of your immune system overreacting to harmless substances, like pollen, peanuts, or pet dander. It treats them as threats and launches a full-scale response complete with sneezing, swelling, and in more severe cases, dangerous inflammation. It's like mistaking a friendly neighbour for an intruder and throwing a brick through your own window to chase them off. Then there are autoimmune diseases, where the immune system accidentally targets the body's own tissues. Conditions like lupus, multiple sclerosis, or rheumatoid arthritis are caused by the immune system misidentifying parts of you as foreign invaders. Scientists still don't fully understand why this happens, but it's a reminder that even the most finely tuned systems can go awry. And of course, there's the delicate balance when it comes to infections. Some pathogens are clever. They evolve rapidly, change their outer coatings, and slip past your defenses unnoticed. Others lie dormant, hiding inside your cells until the moment is right. It's an evolutionary arms race, with your immune system adapting over millennia to recognize and counter ever-changing microbial threats. One of the most incredible features of your immune system is its memory. Once it's dealt with a specific virus or bacteria, it remembers it. That's why many childhood illnesses, like chickenpox, typically only happen once. Your body keeps a record and is prepared to mount a quicker, stronger defense if that invader returns. Vaccines take advantage of this memory system, training your immune system with a harmless version or piece of a pathogen so it knows what to do if the real thing shows up. It's like giving your body flashcards for a pop quiz it hasn't had yet. So how can you support your immune system? Well, it doesn't require anything too exotic. A balanced diet rich in vitamins and minerals, regular movement, adequate sleep, and good hygiene go a long way. Stress, on the other hand, can weaken immune function. Chronic stress releases hormones like cortisol, which, over time, can dampen immune responses and make you more vulnerable to illness. So that moment of stillness you're having now, as you listen and unwind, that's helping more than you might realize. Interestingly, your immune system is closely tied to your gut, as we explored earlier. In fact, about 70% of immune cells live in the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. Your gut microbiome helps train the immune system, teaching it what to fight and what to leave alone. So those helpful bacteria aren't just digesting your breakfast, they're tutoring your immune cells as well. As you rest tonight, your immune system keeps working. Cells patrol your bloodstream, scan for abnormalities, and tidy up the aftermath of daily wear and tear. Tiny battles are won, invaders are pushed back, and your internal world continues on in peaceful balance. And if you feel particularly heroic in the morning, maybe it's because, on a cellular level, you really are. Inside nearly every one of your cells, there's a tiny bean-shaped structure that quietly powers your entire life. They're not flashy. They don't get much attention. They don't even have a fan club yet. But without them, you wouldn't last more than a few seconds. These are your mitochondria. Microscopic power plants, ancient time travelers, and possibly the most underrated members of your internal world. Let's start with the basics. Mitochondria are known as the powerhouses of the cell, and for good reason. Their job is to take the food you eat, specifically glucose and fatty acids, and convert it into usable energy. That energy comes in the form of a molecule called ATP, short for adenosine triphosphate. Every heartbeat, every breath, every blink of your eye is fueled by ATP, and mitochondria make nearly all of it. To give you a sense of scale, your body produces and uses roughly your own weight in ATP every single day. That means if you weigh 150 pounds, you're making 150 pounds of energy molecules daily just to keep the lights on. The process is incredibly efficient and continuous, happening inside the mitochondria of your cells without any conscious effort on your part. Now here's where it gets interesting. Mitochondria weren't always part of us. Long ago, billions of years ago in fact, they were free-living bacteria. Then one day a larger cell swallowed one of these bacteria, but instead of digesting it, the two formed a partnership. The bigger cell provided protection and nutrients, the smaller one provided energy. It was the microbial version of a roommate situation that actually worked out. This moment is one of the most important in the history of life. That ancient merger gave rise to complex cells, eukaryotic cells, the kind that make up plants, animals, and you. Without mitochondria, complex multicellular life as we know it simply wouldn't exist. You owe your very existence to a billion-year-old alliance between two microbes. And these little powerhouses never forgot where they came from. Mitochondria still have their own DNA. It's much smaller than the DNA in your cell nucleus, but it's distinct. And here's a fascinating detail. You inherit your mitochondrial day only from your mother. That means the mitochondrial day inside you is a direct link to your maternal ancestors, passed down through unbroken generations, like a tiny spark carried across time. Each cell in your body contains between a few hundred to several thousand mitochondria, depending on how much energy that cell needs. Muscle cells, for instance, have loads of them. They need constant energy to contract and move. Your brain cells are also packed with mitochondria. In fact, the brain uses around 20% of your body's total energy, even though it makes up only about 2% of your weight. Thinking is hard work, it turns out. So, how do mitochondria turn food into energy? The process is called cellular respiration, and it's a beautiful, complex dance of chemistry. In simple terms, mitochondria take in oxygen and nutrients and use them to produce ATP while releasing carbon dioxide and water as byproducts. This all happens in a series of steps: glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. Names you may remember from high school science class, likely with a mix of awe and mild trauma. If you're not a fan of biochemistry, don't worry. You can think of it like this. Your mitochondria are tiny, efficient factories. They take raw materials, put them on a molecular assembly line, and produce packets of energy that your body can use. It's silent, non-stop, and astonishingly precise. But mitochondria do more than just power your body. They also play a role in cell death. Yes, you heard that right. When a cell is damaged beyond repair or needs to be removed, mitochondria can trigger a process called apoptosis, essentially a programmed self-destruct sequence. This is actually a good thing. It keeps damaged cells from growing out of control or becoming dangerous. You could say mitochondria have a strong sense of quality control. Unfortunately, like all things, mitochondria can wear out. Over time, as they are exposed to stress, toxins, or just the normal wear and tear of life, they can become less efficient. Some researchers believe that the gradual decline in mitochondrial function contributes to aging and age-related diseases. When your cells can't make energy as efficiently, everything slows down, from muscle strength to memory to healing. There's even a theory called the mitochondrial theory of aging, which suggests that damage to mitochondrial DNA over time leads to a cascade of cellular dysfunction. It's not the whole story of aging, but it's a compelling piece of the puzzle. In other words, tired mitochondria might make for a tired body. But there is good news. You can help support your mitochondria through some surprisingly simple lifestyle choices. Regular movement, especially aerobic exercise, encourages the growth of new mitochondria. Sleep, that magical nightly repair session, gives your cells time to recover and reset, and eating a balanced diet with plenty of antioxidants, like those found in fruits, vegetables, nuts, and autumn seeds, can help protect mitochondria from damage. Even intermittent fasting in moderation has been shown to stimulate a process called mitochondrial biogenesis, which is just a fancy way of saying your body makes more mitochondria. It's as if the cells realize there's work to be done and call in reinforcements. That said, you don't need extreme measures. Your mitochondria just want you to move, eat colourfully, and rest well. There's also growing interest in mitochondrial medicine, an area of research focused on how mitochondrial dysfunction may play a role in conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, diabetes, and even some cancers. While we don't have all the answers yet, scientists are increasingly seeing mitochondria not just as power sources, but as central players in health and disease. So next time you're walking up a hill, remembering a dream, healing a paper cut, or simply breathing deeply, you can thank your mitochondria. These humble, ancient structures are hard at work, keeping every system in your body running. They don't complain, they don't boast. They just convert the molecules from your lunch into energy and quietly keep your cells alive. And as you lie here now, relaxed and still, your mitochondria are gently humming along, powering the peaceful rhythm of your breath and the steady beat of your heart. Small as they are, they're mighty, and they've been with you longer than you've been you. Quite the roommates, wouldn't you say? Take a moment to imagine your body as a vast ocean. Now zoom in. Not to the fish or the coral reefs, but all the way down to the smallest currents, the tiniest waves, the invisible dews. That's where your cells live, floating in a fluid called cytoplasm, swimming through life with purpose and precision. You are made of somewhere between 30 and 40 trillion of these tiny units, each one a world of its own, with its own structure, tasks, and personality, and together they make you. If you were to shrink down to cellular scale, you'd see a truly astonishing sight. Cells aren't just little blobs, they're bustling, organised spaces. Imagine a microscopic factory crossed with a city, crossed with a spaceship. Every cell has different departments, different workers, and a well-defined mission. And like any good team, they're always communicating, adapting, and responding to the world around them. Let's take a guided tour through a typical animal cell, say, one of your own skin cells. First stop, the outer wall known as the cell membrane. It's soft, flexible, and constantly in motion. It acts like security at a fancy event. Only certain molecules are allowed in or out, and everyone has to show their credentials. This selective barrier helps keep the internal environment stable, or as scientists call it, in homeostasis, a beautiful word that simply means balance. Step inside and we're in the cytoplasm, a watery gel that fills the cell and keeps everything suspended, like fruit in jelly. Here you'll find organelles, the miniature organs of the cell, each with its own special job. Some move, some float, some are anchored like little islands. All are essential. At the centre of it all is the nucleus, the command centre. Wrapped in its own double membrane, the nucleus houses your DNA, your genetic blueprint. That's over 3 billion letters of code, tucked inside every single one of your cells. It's organised into chromosomes and stored in a molecule called chromatin. The nucleus doesn't just store information, it also sends out instructions. Through a process called transcription, it makes little RNA messengers that carry genetic orders to other parts of the cell. It's like writing out instructions from the central library and sending them by molecular courier. Outside the nucleus, we come to the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER for short. There are two kinds, rough and smooth. The rough ER is studded with tiny factories called ribosomes. These are the protein makers, assembling amino acids into complex chains that become enzymes, hormones, or even parts of the cell's own structure. The smooth ER, on the other hand, helps produce lipids, fats that form cell membranes, and also detoxifies certain chemicals. It's a bit like the cell's version of a quiet workshop and a recycling centre rolled into one. Next up is the Golgi apparatus, which sounds like something out of an Italian cookbook, but is actually more like the cell's post office. It receives proteins and lipids from the ER, modifies them if needed, then sorts and packages them into little bubbles called vesicles. These vesicles are shipped to different parts of the cell, or even sent out of the cell entirely, depending on where the package is needed. You've already met the mitochondria in our previous chapter, but here they are again, hard at work converting nutrients into ATP, the energy currency of the cell. A typical cell may contain a few hundred to several thousand mitochondria, depending on its energy needs. High-performance cells, like those in your heart or muscles, are practically packed with them. Now, let's visit the lysosomes, the cell's cleanup crew. These little spheres are filled with enzymes that can break down waste, damaged organelles, or even invading microbes. They're essential for keeping the cell healthy and tidy. When something's no longer needed, lysosomes take care of it. You could call them the Marie Kondos of the microscopic world. Also floating around are peroxisomes, less famous than lysosomes, but just as important. They help break down fatty acids and neutralize toxins, including harmful substances like hydrogen peroxide. They are like quiet chemists, always managing delicate reactions in the background. Supporting all of this activity is the cytoskeleton, a network of protein fibers that gives the cell its shape, helps move things around, and even assists in cell division. It's not static either. It's dynamic, constantly assembling and disassembling like scaffolding in a city that never stops renovating. When a cell needs to move, say to heal a wound or fight an infection, the cytoskeleton is what allows it to change shape and crawl forward. Speaking of movement, some cells are equipped with tiny appendages called cilia or flagella. These hair-like structures beat rhythmically to help cells move or to move substances across their surfaces. In your respiratory tract, for instance, cilia help sweep away dust and microbes, keeping your airways clear with tiny coordinated motions. Like microscopic janitors with the world's smallest brooms, cells also talk to each other, constantly. They send and receive chemical signals that coordinate actions, make decisions, and respond to their environment. This communication is vital for everything from immune responses to brain activity to wound healing. It's a kind of cellular group chat, except with fewer memes and more calcium ions. And finally, every cell has a life cycle. They grow, carry out their functions, and eventually divide to create new cells. This process, called mitosis, is one of nature's great feats of precision. The DNA is carefully copied, the contents of the cell are split, and 2 new cells are born. Your body is performing mitosis at this very moment, perhaps millions of times every second. New skin, new blood, new lining for your stomach. It's all being built on a cellular level while you rest. But not all cells live forever. Some are meant to be temporary, like the cells that line your digestive tract, which are replaced every few days. Others, like neurons in the brain, can last a lifetime. Some cells retire with dignity through apoptosis, a programmed cell death that keeps tissues healthy and balanced. It's not morbid, it's maintenance. Life, after all, is made of cycles. So as you lie quietly now, drifting closer to sleep, imagine all this silent movement inside you. Proteins being built, nutrients being absorbed, signals being sent, cells dividing and recycling and rebuilding. An entire world beneath your skin, so intricate and alive. Your body is not a solid thing. It is a symphony of microscopic worlds, working together in perfect time. And at the heart of that symphony, your cells sing on, soft and steady. If you could listen closely enough past the sound of your breath and the quiet hum of the world, you might hear something even softer, the delicate crackle of electricity dancing through your brain. It's not loud, it's not sharp, but it's there. Tiny signals leaping from cell to cell, carrying your thoughts, your memories, your emotions, and your dreams. This is the symphony of your nervous system, and it's playing all the time. Your brain, along with your spinal cord and an elaborate network of nerves, forms the nervous system. It's your body's control center, communication network, an information superhighway all rolled into one. Every time you move a muscle, notice a smell, recall a memory, or decide whether you're in the mood for chocolate, it's your nervous system at work. And at the heart of this system are the neurons, the tiny electrically excitable cells that keep your internal world in motion. There are around 86 billion neurons in the human brain. That's 86 billion microscopic messengers, each with thousands of connections to others. The number of possible pathways among them is greater than the number of stars in the Milky Way. It's a staggering web of connectivity, and every second, it's lighting up in patterns that make you, you. Each neuron has a fairly simple structure. There's the cell body, which contains the nucleus and keeps the neuron healthy. Extending from the body are dendrites, which receive incoming signals, and a long projection called an axon, which sends signals out. The axon ends in little branches that communicate with the next neuron across a tiny gap called a synapse. Now, how do these signals actually move? It's a mix of electricity and chemistry. When a neuron receives enough stimulation, say from a sensory experience or an internal cue, it fires an electrical impulse called an action potential. This impulse travels down the axon like a spark racing along a wire. When it reaches the end, it triggers the release of chemicals called neurotransmitters. These drift across the synapse and bind to receptors on the next neuron, passing the message along. Different neurotransmitters serve different purposes. Dopamine, for instance, is linked to motivation and pleasure. Serotonin helps regulate mood and sleep. Acetylcholine is involved in memory and movement. GABA, short for gamma-aminobutyric acid, is the system's calming influence, helping to quiet overexcited neurons and promote relaxation. Your brain's entire emotional spectrum, from joy to calm to curiosity, is painted with these molecular brushes. This communication happens at incredible speeds. An action potential can travel at over 200 miles per hour. That means the thought, "I should pet the cat," can go from your brain to your hand in the blink of an eye, and your cat naturally will act as though they summoned you telepathically. But your nervous system isn't just about action and reaction, it's also about memory and learning. Every time you learn something new, like a language, a song, or even a new route to the grocery store, your neurons change. They form new connections or strengthen existing ones. This adaptability is called neuroplasticity. It's how your brain rewires itself based on experience. You're not just a product of your past. You're a living, learning network, sculpted by everything you've ever done, seen, or felt. Memory, too, is a marvel of this system. It isn't stored in one place like books on a shelf. It's distributed across networks of neurons. When you remember something, your first bike ride, a favourite scent, a face you love, your brain reactivates the same pattern of neural firing that was active when you first experienced it. Memory is, in a sense, a replay of brain activity, and over time some memories are reinforced, while others fade, part of the brain's way of managing space and relevance. The nervous system also governs your senses. Touch, taste, smell, sight, and hearing all rely on specialized neurons that detect different kinds of stimuli and relay that information to the brain. These signals are interpreted, often in milliseconds, allowing you to respond to your environment with grace and speed, even if that just means ducking under a low doorway or smiling when you smell fresh coffee. Then there's the autonomic nervous system, which takes care of everything you don't have to think about. Your heartbeat, your digestion, your body temperature. It's split into two branches, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic system revs things up. It's your fight or flight response. When you're startled, your heart races, your pupils dilate, your body prepares for action. The parasympathetic system, on the other hand, is your rest and digest mode. It slows your heart, stimulates digestion, and tells your body that it's safe to relax. Right now, as you lie here, it's likely your parasympathetic system is in charge. Your heart rate has slowed, your muscles are softening, your thoughts may be drifting, unspooling like threads in warm water. This calming state is part of your nervous system's design. You're built not only for action but for restoration. Interestingly, the brain itself doesn't feel pain. You could poke a brain directly and it wouldn't hurt at all. Though for the record, please don't try. The brain interprets pain from other parts of the body, but it has no pain receptors of its own. That's why brain surgery can sometimes be done while a patient is awake. Surgeons can navigate areas of the brain and monitor responses in real time. And while we're on the subject of strange facts, here's another. Your brain runs on about 20 watts of power. That's less than a dim light bulb. All of your thoughts, feelings, decisions, and dreams powered by a tiny current that could barely light up a reading lamp. It's humbling and beautiful. Of course, with such complexity comes vulnerability. The nervous system can be affected by trauma, disease, and chemical imbalances. Conditions like epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's all involve disruptions in neural function. Mental health, too, is deeply connected to this system. Anxiety, depression, and many other conditions are rooted not in weakness, but in the real biology of the brain and its signals. Still, the nervous system remains one of the most resilient and fascinating aspects of human biology. It learns, it heals, it adapts, and it never stops, working through your waking hours and even as you sleep. As you lie quietly now, your neurons are still active. They're processing what you've heard, relaxing your muscles, perhaps even starting to slip into the patterns that lead to dreams. Tiny electrical flickers pulse in rhythm. Your breath slows. The brain hums softly, like a power line on a quiet evening. There's a universe inside your skull, and right now, it's dimming the lights for sleep. Your skin is the quiet guardian of your body. It doesn't make much noise about it, but it's always there, shielding, sensing, regulating. It's the largest organ you have, stretching out to cover nearly 20 square feet if you laid it all flat, which thankfully you never have to do. It weighs about 6 pounds depending on your size, and acts as both armour and antenna, keeping the outside world at a polite distance while letting just enough in to keep you connected. Despite its reputation for being just a fleshy wrapper, your skin is incredibly complex. It's made up of 3 main layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. Each layer has its own roles and responsibilities, and together they create a protective barrier that's strong, flexible, and quietly intelligent. Let's begin at the surface, the epidermis. This is the outermost layer, the part you can touch, the part that gets sunburned, the part that blushes when you're embarrassed. It's only about as thick as a sheet of paper in most places, but it's tough. The cells in the epidermis are primarily keratinocytes, named for the tough protein keratin they produce. These cells are born in the lower layers and work their way up, slowly dying and hardening as they go. By the time they reach the surface, they're little more than flat, dead plates, like natural armour. And here's an odd but comforting fact. Every month or so, you get a brand new epidermis. Your body sheds somewhere around 30 to 40,000 skin cells every minute. That means by the time you finish listening to this chapter, you'll have left behind several 100,000 tiny reminders of yourself. It's not gross, it's regeneration. A quiet, dusty kind of rebirth. Just beneath the epidermis lies the dermis. This middle layer is where much of the action happens. It contains blood vessels, nerve endings, sweat glands, oil glands, and hair follicles. The dermis is your skin's engine room. It's where your body senses the world through touch, temperature, and pain. It's where it cools itself through sweat and where it keeps itself waterproof with natural oils. The nerve endings in the dermis are especially impressive. They allow you to feel a breeze on your cheek, the warmth of a mug in your hands, the prick of a thorn. Some nerves detect pressure, others respond to vibration, and some specialize in pain or temperature. They help you understand your environment in a way no camera or microphone ever could. It's an intimate, immediate form of perception. Then there's the hypodermis, or subcutaneous layer, the soft, cushiony underlayer of fat and connective tissue that insulates your body and absorbs shocks. It might not get the headlines, but the hypodermis is vital. It helps regulate temperature and provides a buffer between your organs and the bumps and scrapes of life. It's also where your body stores energy in the form of fat, saving up for times of need, or more likely for winter snacks and sleepy afternoons. Your skin is also home to its own ecosystem, the skin microbiome. Just like your gut, your skin's populated by billions of bacteria, fungi, and even viruses that live on its surface. These tiny organisms are mostly harmless, and many are helpful. They form a living barrier that helps protect you from harmful microbes and keeps your immune system sharp. Different parts of your body have different microbial communities. The skin behind your ear has a different population than your elbow, or your armpit, or your scalp. Each patch of you is its own tiny continent. Now, your skin isn't just a passive barrier, it's an active participant in your health. When you get a cut or scrape, your skin leaps into action. Platelets in your blood rush to the site to form a clot sealing the wound. Nearby cells release chemical signals to summon immune cells, which clean up bacteria and debris. Over time, new skin cells are made to replace the damaged ones. It's not magic, it's biology. But it might as well be magic the way it all happens quietly and without conscious thought. Your skin also plays a major role in regulating temperature. When you're hot, sweat glands release moisture, and as that sweat evaporates, it cools your skin. At the same time, blood vessels in the dermis widen to release heat. When you're cold, the process reverses. Blood vessels constrict to keep warmth inside, and tiny muscles at the base of your hair follicles contract, causing goosebumps. It's an ancient reflex, inherited from our furrier ancestors, meant to puff up body hair for extra insulation. Not terribly effective for us now, unless you're particularly hirsute, but still charming. The skin is also where sunlight meets chemistry. When ultraviolet rays from the sun hit your skin, they trigger a reaction that helps your body produce vitamin D, which is essential for bone health and immune function. Of course, too much sun can damage the DNA in skin cells, leading to premature aging and increased risk of skin cancer. That's why sunscreen is more than just a beach accessory. It's a way to support the quiet work your skin is already doing to protect you. Skin is incredibly resilient, but it also shows wear and tear. Scars, freckles, wrinkles, and stretch marks, all signs of a life lived, of time passing. Each line and mark is a chapter in the story of your body. Some are from childhood falls, others from sun-soaked days or sudden growth, or healing from illness. Your skin remembers, not consciously of course, but visibly, like a handwritten journal etched in soft tissue. And let's not forget about touch. Skin is one of your primary ways of experiencing the world and connecting with others. A gentle hand on your shoulder, a hug, a reassuring pat, these aren't just social niceties. They're powerful messages, felt and understood in milliseconds. Studies show that human touch can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and even boost the immune system. It's a language older than words, written in the nerve endings of the skin. So as you settle deeper into rest, take a moment to appreciate the remarkable envelope you live in. It protects you, cools you, warms you, senses the world, and even regenerates itself without a single complaint. Your skin is your silent companion, your gentle armor, your living interface with the world around you. Right now, it's doing exactly what it was designed to do, holding you together while you let go. Inside your body, there's a quiet orchestra playing all the time, no violins or flutes, but chemical signals that rise and fall, surge and fade, telling your organs when to act, your tissues when to grow, and your mood whether to lift or dip. This is the work of hormones, tiny, powerful messengers that shape nearly every moment of your life without making a sound. Hormones are part of your endocrine system, which is like the body's internal messaging service. But unlike the nervous system, which communicates quickly with electrical signals and neurotransmitters, the endocrine system works at a slower, more lingering pace. Hormones are released into your bloodstream by various glands, and that they travel through your body like sealed letters, waiting to be opened by specific cells with the right receptors. Once they find their target, they deliver their instructions, start growing, stop storing, prepare for sleep, feel calm. Let's begin at the top, the hypothalamus. This small region deep within your brain is like mission control for your endocrine system. It links the nervous system to the endocrine system and keeps track of important things like body temperature, hunger, thirst, and your internal clock. It works closely with the pituitary gland, which sits just below it and is often called the master gland. The pituitary sends out signals to other glands, instructing them to release their own hormones when needed. It's like a conductor cueing different sections of the orchestra to come in at just the right time. One of the glands under pituitary supervision is the thyroid, located in your neck. The thyroid produces hormones that regulate your metabolism, essentially how fast or slow your body uses energy. If your thyroid is overactive, everything can feel a bit revved up. Fast heartbeat, restlessness, weight loss. If it's underactive, you might feel sluggish, cold or tired. The thyroid's job is subtle but crucial, keeping your internal engine running at just the right pace. Further down, perched like little hats on top of your kidneys, are your adrenal glands. These glands produce several hormones, including adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline is what rushes through you during moments of danger or excitement, your classic fight or flight hormone. It sharpens your senses, quickens your pulse, and gets you ready to act. Cortisol is often misunderstood as a stress hormone, but it actually has many jobs. It helps regulate blood sugar, manage metabolism, and reduce inflammation. In short bursts, it's helpful, but if cortisol levels stay too high for too long, say due to chronic stress, it can start to wear the body down. Your immune system weakens, your sleep suffers, and you might feel drained or anxious. Speaking of sleep, there's another key player here: melatonin. This hormone is produced by the pineal gland, a tiny pinecone-shaped structure tucked away in your brain. Melatonin levels begin to rise in the evening as it gets dark, signaling to your body that it's time to wind down. It helps regulate your circadian rhythm, your body's natural sleep-wake cycle. Think of it as your internal moonlight gently dimming the activity of your brain and preparing you for rest. And on the other side of the clock, we have hormones like cortisol and serotonin that help wake you up and make you feel alert during the day. Your hormone levels follow rhythms as regular as tides, ebbing and flowing in patterns that align with light, activity, food, and rest. These rhythms are deeply ingrained and hardwired into your biology. Now let's talk about the pancreas, which produces insulin. Insulin helps regulate your blood sugar by allowing glucose to enter your cells where it can be used for energy. When this system works well, your body maintains a steady stream of fuel. But if it's disrupted, it can lead to conditions like diabetes, where blood sugar regulation breaks down. It's a delicate balance. Too much sugar in the bloodstream can damage organs over time. Too little, and your cells can't function properly. Insulin keeps this dance in motion, helping you move, think, and stay steady. There are also the reproductive hormones, which play key roles not just in reproduction, but in bone health, muscle growth, mood, and development. In people assigned female at birth, hormones like estrogen and progesterone help regulate the menstrual cycle, prepare the body for potential pregnancy, and influence brain chemistry. In people assigned male at birth, testosterone supports sperm production, muscle mass, and voice changes during puberty. These hormones are powerful and complex, and they're not exclusive. Everyone has some of all of them, just in different ratios and rhythms. And then there's oxytocin, the so-called love hormone. It's released during moments of bonding like hugging, touching, nursing a baby, or simply sharing a meaningful glance. Oxytocin helps build trust and emotional connection. It encourages social bonding and even plays a role in empathy. It's like the body's built-in glue for relationships, and it's not just for romance or parenthood. Oxytocin also rises when you pet your dog, hear a soothing voice, or feel seen by someone you trust. The beauty of hormones is in their precision. A hormone might only be present in your blood in concentrations as low as 1 part per billion, yet it can trigger massive changes. Growth hormone, for example, is released in small pulses during deep sleep and plays a major role in tissue repair, muscle development, and overall growth during childhood. Even as an adult, it helps keep bones strong and muscles healthy. But hormones can be fickle. They're sensitive to lifestyle, environment, age, and stress. A poor night's sleep can throw off your cortisol rhythm. A nutrient-poor diet can affect your insulin response. Long-term stress can suppress reproductive hormones. It's all connected, which means when you care for your body with rest, movement, and nourishment, you're also caring for your hormones, and in turn, they help care for you. The endocrine system is beautifully quiet. It doesn't buzz or blink or demand attention, but it shapes everything from your appetite to your emotions, from your sleep to your energy. And the harmony of your body depends on these signals being sent and received, day after day, night after night. As you lie here now, in this moment of calm, your hormones are still at work. Melatonin is rising gently, inviting your brain into rest. Cortisol has taken a step back, lowering the alertness dial. Oxytocin may be quietly blooming just from the warmth of listening, of being still, of feeling safe. Your internal chemistry is shifting, not dramatically, but like the slow turning of a tide, and so you drift, gently and quietly on a sea of molecules made just for you. Inside you, coursing through a vast network of branching paths, is a river of life. Your blood. It flows endlessly, quietly, from the moment you're about 5 weeks old in the womb until the very end of your days. It delivers oxygen to your brain, carries nutrients to your cells, sweeps away waste, fights infections, and helps keep you warm or cool. It's part delivery service, part defense squad, part heating system. All of this swirling invisibly beneath your skin. An average adult has about 5 to 6 litres of blood, roughly 1.5 gallons. It's a blend of plasma, red and white blood cells, and platelets, each playing a crucial role in your health. It travels through an intricate network of blood vessels that, if stretched out end to end, would cover over 60,000 miles. That's enough to circle the Earth more than twice, and all of it is powered by the beating of your heart. Let's begin with the plasma. This is the pale yellow watery part of your blood that makes up just over half of its volume. Plasma is mostly water, about 90%, but it's far from empty. Floating in this gentle current are proteins, hormones, nutrients like glucose and amino acids, electrolytes such as sodium and potassium, and even waste products on their way to be filtered and removed. Plasma is like the riverbed, carrying precious cargo to where it is needed and taking away what's no longer useful. Then there are the red blood cells. These are the real workhorses of your bloodstream. You have somewhere around 20 to 30 trillion of them circulating at any given moment. Their main job is to carry oxygen from your lungs to your tissues and carbon dioxide back from your tissues to your lungs to be exhaled. Each red blood cell is shaped like a tiny squishy donut with no hole in the middle, a shape that maximizes its surface area and flexibility. Packed inside is a molecule called hemoglobin, which binds oxygen like a magnet. It's hemoglobin that gives blood its red color, especially when oxygen is bound to it. Red blood cells have a short but active life, about 120 days. After that, they're retired in the spleen and liver, and your body makes new ones to replace them. Every second, your bone marrow is producing about 2 million red blood cells. That's enough to refill a large swimming pool in just a few weeks, though thankfully, your body has more useful plans for them. Next up, the white blood cells, also known as leukocytes. These are your immune system's foot soldiers. They make up only about 1% of your blood, but they're essential for defending you from invaders like bacteria, viruses, and parasites. There are several different kinds of white blood cells, each with a unique specialty. Some patrol the blood, looking for signs of infection. Others coordinate attacks or create antibodies. A few are like snipers, identifying and destroying infected cells with remarkable precision. When you're healthy, your white blood cells go about their work quietly. But when you're fighting an illness, their numbers surge. That's why doctors often check your white blood cell count when you're sick. It's one of the body's most reliable early warning systems. Now let's meet the platelets, or thrombocytes. These are tiny disc-shaped fragments that float through your blood, constantly on the lookout for damage. If you get a cut or a scrape, platelets spring into action. They stick to the broken blood vessel, clump together, and help form a clot, stopping the bleeding. They're your internal first aid kit, quick, efficient, and quietly heroic. The blood doesn't just flow freely. It travels through a carefully organized system of blood vessels, arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Veins bring it back. Capillaries, the smallest vessels, are where the real exchange happens. Oxygen and nutrients leave the blood to nourish your cells, and waste products hop in for the ride back. Your heart is the pump that keeps it all moving. It's about the size of your fist and it beats more than 100,000 times a day, over 35 million times a year. Each beat sends blood surging out to your lungs to collect oxygen, then through the body to deliver that oxygen to every corner, from the top of your scalp to the tips of your toes. It's a loop running continuously, adjusting in real time to your needs. When you sleep, your heart slows down, relaxing with you. But even then, it never stops. The rhythm of your heart is one of the most reliable things in your life. It started before you were born and has been playing its gentle percussion ever since. Blood also plays a big role in regulating temperature. When you're hot, blood vessels near the surface of your skin widen to release heat, making your skin feel warm or flushed. When you're cold, those vessels constrict, preserving heat and directing blood flow to your vital organs. It's like a built-in thermostat, constantly adjusting to keep you comfortable. Another thing your blood does, quietly but crucially, is maintain the delicate balance of your internal chemistry. It carries signals between organs, transports hormones from the endocrine glands, and buffers pH levels to keep everything within a safe range. Your body is extremely picky about conditions. Just a small shift in acidity or temperature can affect how cells function. Blood helps keep everything stable. And of course, there's blood type. You've probably heard of types A, B, AB, and O, along with the rhesus factor, positive or negative. These classifications are based on the presence or absence of specific proteins on the surface of red blood cells. Blood type is important for transfusions, organ transplants, and even pregnancy in some cases. Your blood type is inherited and doesn't change throughout your life like a quiet genetic signature. In times of injury, illness, or even just exertion, your blood adjusts. More oxygen, more nutrients, more immune support, whatever is needed, your body adapts. And then, when the crisis is over, it shifts back to maintenance mode, circulating calmly, keeping watch. Right now, as you lie still, your blood is flowing gently. Your heart is easing into its slower nighttime rhythm. Oxygen is reaching your fingertips. Nutrients are feeding your cells. Immune cells are on patrol and platelets are on standby. Everything is working quietly, tirelessly, as it always has. Your bloodstream is not just a delivery route. It's a river of connection. It links every part of you to every other part. It listens. It responds. And it does it all without fanfare, without pause. So rest easy. The river is flowing just as it should. Inside the nucleus of nearly every one of your cells lies something extraordinary. Something so small it's invisible, and yet so powerful it shapes nearly everything about you. It's your DNA, your genetic code, your biological script, your own private instruction manual written in a language that has only 4 letters. And this microscopic molecule, quietly coiled into chromosomes, is what tells each of your cells who they are, what they should do, and how they should do it. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It looks like a twisted ladder, or more formally a double helix. The rungs of this ladder are made up of pairs of nitrogenous bases, adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. These 4 bases, often shortened to A, T, G, and C, combine in long, varied sequences to form your genetic code. And while that might sound simple, the sheer amount of information stored in that spiraling structure is breathtaking. Your complete set of DNA is called your genome, and it contains over 3 billion base pairs. That's 3 billion tiny chemical letters, arranged just so, tucked into every one of your trillions of cells. If you were to stretch out all the DNA in just one cell, it would be about 2 meters long. Multiply that by all your cells, and you could reach the moon and back several times with just the DNA in your body. Though it's probably better left where it is. Despite its incredible length, your DNA is packed efficiently into structures called chromosomes. Humans have 46 chromosomes in total, 23 pairs. You inherit half from your mother and half from your father. These chromosomes are stored inside the cell's nucleus, protected and organized, like the master archive of a library that's always open for reference. Within these chromosomes are genes. A gene is a specific sequence of DNA that provides the instructions for making a particular protein. And proteins, in turn, are the building blocks and tools of your body. They form muscle, skin, hair, and hormones. They carry signals, fight infections, and help cells move and divide. Each gene is like a recipe, and each protein is a dish prepared according to that recipe. You have around 20,000 genes, an entire cookbook of you, but not all genes are active all the time. Cells control which genes are turned on or off depending on what's needed. This is why a liver cell knows how to act like a liver cell, and a neuron behaves like a neuron, even though both contain exactly the same DNA. It's all about expression. Some genes are silent in one cell and active in another, like lights turned on only in the rooms being used. This leads us to a fascinating layer of biology called epigenetics. Epigenetics refers to the chemical tags and signals that tell genes when to turn on or off, and by how much. These tags don't change the DNA sequence itself, but they do influence how it's read. It's like adding notes in the margins of a book. You're not rewriting the story, but you're changing how it's understood. What's remarkable is that epigenetic changes can be influenced by your environment. Diet, stress, sleep, exposures to toxins, even your relationships and childhood experiences, all can leave chemical marks that affect how your genes are expressed. And in some cases, these changes may even be passed on to future generations. Your life doesn't just react to your genes, it writes back. Sometimes mutations occur, changes in the DNA sequence. Most of these are harmless. Some are beneficial, giving rise to useful traits or helping species adapt over generations. Others can lead to problems, particularly if they affect genes involved in cell division or protein production. Mutations can happen spontaneously, or they can be caused by environmental factors like radiation or chemicals. Your cells have intricate proofreading mechanisms to correct errors, but like any editing process, it's not perfect. Understanding DNA has transformed medicine and science in ways that were once unimaginable. From diagnosing genetic conditions to designing personalized treatments based on a person's unique genetic profile, we are beginning to understand ourselves at the most fundamental level. Genetic testing can now reveal your ancestry, your risk for certain diseases, even how your body might respond to different medications. It's the blueprint of you, rendered in a language we're only just beginning to fully decode. One of the most profound scientific achievements of our time was the completion of the Human Genome Project in the early 2000s. For the first time, researchers mapped all the genes in human DNA. It was a global effort that took over a decade and cost billions of dollars. Now, the same sequencing can be done in days for a fraction of the cost, opening doors to research, diagnostics and treatment that were once the realm of science fiction. And yet, even with all this knowledge, there's still mystery. We know the code, we know many of the genes, but large stretches of the genome are still not fully understood. Some sections, once dismissed as junk DNA, are now believed to play important roles in regulation and structure. It's as if we've found a vast library, and while we've started reading some of the books, many remain closed, their stories still waiting to be told. Your DNA is not destiny, it is potential. It sets the stage, but you are not bound by it. You are shaped by your genes, yes, but also by your choices, your environment, your experiences, and the people around you. The same gene can lead to different outcomes in different situations, and the expression of your genes can change over time. You're not fixed. You are dynamic, a work in progress. Right now, as you rest, your cells are reading and interpreting this ancient code. They're making proteins, repairing damage, dividing gently, and keeping you alive with the wisdom of billions of years of evolution. The instructions are followed with care, repeated over and over, night and day without pause. Your body is a living manuscript. Its pages are turning quietly just beneath your skin. The language is older than speech, older than cities, older than fire. It is the language of life itself. So breathe deeply. Your story is still being written, even now in sleep. And so, dear listener, we come to the end of our journey through the tiny worlds inside you. From the bustling metropolises of your microbiome to the elegant power plants of your mitochondria, to the intricate code within your DNA, your body is a universe unto itself, alive, intelligent and quietly astonishing. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought is powered by an invisible symphony of cells, signals and systems all working in perfect harmony. And the most incredible part? You don't have to think about any of it. Your body simply knows. It listens, it learns, it repairs, it dreams. As you settle deeper into rest, remember that inside you are countless stories unfolding. A river of blood delivering life. Hormones whispering gentle instructions, neurons firing in patterns that carry memories, hopes, and the softness of sleep. You're not just one person, you're a thriving ecosystem, a living library, and a miracle of biology that hums with quiet purpose. If you're still awake, perhaps this video was a little too interesting, but in the best possible way, and if you've already drifted off, then mission accomplished. Either way, I hope you found some comfort in knowing just how beautifully complex and deeply capable your body truly is. Before you go, if you haven't already, I'd be so grateful if you left a like and subscribed. It helps more sleepy souls find their way here. And if you're still listening, let me know, where in the world are you tuning in from? And what time is it right now where you are? Are you winding down after a long day, or just starting a gentle morning with a moment of calm? Wherever you are, and whatever the hour, thank you for joining me on this quiet little journey. Rest well, sleep deeply, and may your tiny worlds keep turning peacefully all through the night.